2018, I think, when we played Peru.
was een hele goede speler.
And so, yeah, it was an excellent player.
Thank you. We'll just pause now and ask photographers, please, if you could just leave the room. Thank you very much. There are a lot of hands. We'll do our best to get to you all, but just let the photographer colleagues leave. We'll have one more over here, and then we'll come to the front. Thank you for waiting. One more here, and then to the front. Thank you. Thank you, photographers.
I have a question to one each. I'll start with Coach, Mr. Van Gaal. Following you during this World Cup, you seem to be in a very harmonical place, a person with a lot of harmony. How has the last year changed you as a person, would you say?
Nou, natuurlijk.
Well,
Destijds zal ook.
of course, I'm sure that time played a role and has affected me.
Maar is niet zoveel veranderd. De visie.
But I don't really think that much has changed. My vision has evolved. We've seen that. I was the head coach of Ajax with a very attacking, a very offensive DNA. And then I moved to Barcelona, where I learned that you can't always pursue that goal. And then, for the very first time, I started changing my mind and thinking about football in a different way. And that's when I developed my vision. And in the World Cup 2014, you will have seen that new vision. And I think that many teams, but also many countries, are playing the system, this system.
Wat ik als persoonlijk veranderd ben, ik denk dat.
And personally, you know, how I've changed, I think that I have more patience now than I used to have.
Ik denk dat vroeger ook 8 jaar geleden.
And I think that the past is also 8 years ago. So I think that Memphis is in a better place to answer that question.
Maar eigenlijk ben ik ook.
But frankly, as a person, my personality hasn't really changed that much because I still have the same vision in terms of how to approach people. And my approach is quite personal and is different for each and every individual. But as a head coach, I approach the players always in the same way, Individually, that may differ because each and every player has a different personality, which means that I need to approach them in a different way. Well, the more experience you have, the older you get, the better and the smoother things go, of course. But I think that fundamentally I haven't changed that much. And yes, indeed, patience is a wonderful thing. We say that and I think that I'm a more patient man than I used to be.
Have Louis van Gaal had on this team since taking over?
Obviously a lot. You can see it in the results. You know, we haven't lost a game yet, and I think our discipline in the team, it's really tightened up when he arrived, which is really important to have results especially in a tournament. Obviously, everybody knows his vision, also his character, and I think that's one of his biggest quality also to build a strong team that can play in all different type of styles, but also win in different type of ways. And that mentality he brings into the team as well. And yeah, he's also a coach who's very clear. So he has a vision, and that's clear to him, and he brings it over to the group very clear.
Thank you. We'll come to this side, please.
Ja, Martijn Krabberdam, Football International.
Martijn Krabberdam, Football International. Question to the head coach. You just said that you're a coach who has evolved. But which coach was happier? The coach that played dominant, attractive football, or the trainer that we have now that is playing transitional football in order to be successful? Well, you keep asking me the same question time and time again, but you do not understand that football is evolving and that it's much more difficult than it was 20 years ago to play as offensively as Ajax used to play. And if you fail to see that or fail to understand that, then it's very difficult to understand that this is the way things go. And when in 2014 I started developing the more defensive system, people criticized me, but now half the world is playing that kind of football. So football has evolved in that direction. And you can see here full well at this World Championship that the results are smaller results. Top countries even against smaller squads because a packed defense is simply easy than attacking. Now, one could believe that we only defend, but that's not true because we are trying to press and push and are trying to do so in a varied way. Against some squads, we do that halfway the match, halfway the pitch, all depending on the tactical plan. And all these things, come into play. I just commented on my view, and I hope it's clear. But of course, you have to be able to see it for yourself, that the squads at this World Cup are playing in this manner. And here at this press conference, I am saying that Brazil is a simple counter squad. I never said that. I responded, I commented on what is being said in the Dutch media about the Dutch team and about the Brazilian team. And Brazil is doing almost the exact same thing as the Dutch squad. But yes, they do have wonderful technical players, and sometimes things go better, and it's a fantastic match. But there was a match, the other match was very moderate, was not very attractive. That doesn't mean that Brazil it doesn't mean anything. No. I've always said that Brazil is a great team, and we are a country that could possibly become world champion because I hope that we are the best team, which is not the same thing. It's quite different from all these other countries. Well, this was a very elaborate answer.
Thank you.
There you go.
Gentleman there, then lady in the middle, and then back over here, please.
Gracias. Gracias, Luis Van Gaal. Buenas tardes y enhorabuena por estar.
Hello, Coach. Good afternoon, and congratulations for being here. I wanted to ask you two questions. What do you think that Luis Enrique is not the coach anymore for Spain, and what do you think about the referee? He will be Spanish, Mateo Laoz, taking into account that this will be a match against Argentina. Thank you very much.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a prejudiced head coach when it comes to Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique, we became champion twice, and Luis Enrique was the most important player, or one of the most important players at the time. He was the number 10. He was very professional, and he also scored lots of goals at key moments. Unfortunately, I cannot judge him as a trainer, as a coach. I don't see his training, his preparations, so I really can't tell you anything. I can't say anything about the fact that he is stopping. But we live in a world, in a football world, in which people are dismissed all the time. So I think it's quite unfortunate for him. And it's never easy if you're dismissed, because usually that is due to poor results. But it doesn't always have to be because of the head coach. But that is all I want to say about Luis Enrique. Laos, were you talking about that? Yes. Well, he's a wonderful referee. Now, I'm not going to influence him now, but hey, in the first 4 matches, we had referees of which I think, these are from countries, second-level countries, and Laos is of the highest level. Spain, in my view, is a top football country, even though they're out of the tournament. But I think that he's great. He's a great referee, and I'm glad he's a referee in such a top match.
Thank you. We'll have 2 questions from the ladies in the third row, please.
Meneer Van Gaal, het gaat natuurlijk veel over het afstoppen van Messi.
Mr. Van Gaal, there's a lot of debate about stopping Messi, and one of the Dutch personalities said you should not only stop Messi, but also pass in different directions, lateral passes. What are you going to do about Messi? Answer. We're not going to reveal that to you. I'm not going to reveal our tactics to you, which would be pretty stupid to reveal your own tactics. But it's not that difficult to come up with an answer. You could have come up with an answer, and you may want to block and close the pass lines. Am I right, Memphis, in saying this? I don't think that there's too much hoo-ha about this. Question from Memphis. Let's hope it won't come to that, penalties, but could you tell us what it means for you as a top athlete? You need to take a penalty in such an atmosphere.
Ik heb het zelf nog niet meegemaakt. Wel, zeg maar dat ik een
penalty moest nemen. I haven't done this myself. I think a quarterfinal Champions League, I make a penalty in the match itself, but not a shootout. So I don't have that experience.
Ik heb het ik heb het natuurlijk meegemaakt.
But of course, in 2014, I was there. I didn't have to take the penalty then. But of course, there's a lot of tension, a lot of pressure. But then again, we are professional football players. We have to be able to deal with that. So we're trying to prepare for that as well. And we're doing so. Of course, we hope to win the match in 90 minutes, but then again, you don't know. And you see in this tournament that sometimes you need to take penalties. And ultimately, there's always one team that loses. And the way the penalties are shot, well, I have very little to say about that because there's a lot of pressure here. Yeah.
Thank you. Question on the right, please.
Valentijn Driessen, voor Memphis en voor Louis.
Valentijn Driessen, a question for Memphis and Louis. Louis, is it still possible? You just pointed out how football evolved to defend with 9 outfield players. And for Memphis, who are your 2 favorite assistants? And what are your views on Louis van Gaal personally? Is he the uncle whom you're ashamed of at parties, or is he your favorite uncle? Memphis. This last question, I think you could have come up with a better question, I think. Question off mic, the interpreter can't hear the question. Question off mic.
Ja, hij zei het niet tegen mij, hij zei het tegen jullie.
Well, he didn't say that to me, he said that to you.
Onze trainer af en toe,
I think our head coach sometimes shows character, a sense of humor, and everybody appreciates that. Again, a comment off mic. Help us, I don't know that word. What he wants to hear is that you prefer to play with Bergwijn than with Gakpo. Memphis, well, the way you published this, I mean, it was never said that way. After the match, I was asked, how did you feel about playing with Cody Gakpo, and who would you prefer to play with? And that was more or less the context. It's not that I took the initiative to say this, but then again, I play well with Steven. That works well. And I think that you've been able to see that in a number of matches. But ultimately, who plays next to me, at the end of the day, we need to perform, so it doesn't really matter. Well, this question of yours of 9 defenders, I'm not going to answer that question. I consider it to be extremely negative. So you can come up with an answer yourself, just as you said that you found my telephone in the toilet.
Gentleman here, please. And then thank you for your patience. We'll go to the gentleman there. You've been waiting a long time. So at the front, please.
I am Mahdi Abid from Tunisia. Do you think that the Dutch tournament has helped in developing the Moroccan players? And what is your opinion in the coach Regragui and what he has achieved? My question to Memphis: you have played with Zilzouli in Barcelona. What do you think, Barcelona? What do you think about his gifts and also the goalkeeper Bono? What do you think about him?
Ja, ik kan net zo goed als ik
Well,
kan beoordelen, kan ik
I can't judge Luis Enrique, nor can I judge or assess your head coach, but I can answer the question about Ziyech, for instance. Ziyech, that of course he's been trained in the Netherlands. Ziyech is a wonderful player that makes an enormous contribution to the Moroccan squad. And before this new head coach came in, he wasn't fielded. So this says something about the head coach. I think it's great that Morocco has advanced in the World Cup because Morocco was not known as a top football country. But in general, if we look at the Moroccan players in the Netherlands, in our league, usually they are technically very skilled. And I think that it's always a pleasure to watch them play football.
Thank you for your patience, sir. You there? Thank you.
Koen Gezen van NRC Handelsblad. Vraag voor beide eigenlijk.
Dutch paper. Question to both of you. The last time, Netherlands-Argentina ended in penalties and things didn't evolve as we hoped and expected. The question is, do you practice penalties? What about the perfect penalty? Does it exist? And a question to Memphis, would you be forced to take a penalty or would you prefer to feel whether you would like to take a penalty, yes or no? First of all, we will not force players to shoot in a certain direction, so that is a ridiculous, nonsensical question. You really need to stick with your own feeling, with your own self, and the same applies to the fact that players want to play in a certain position. Of course, you need to try to stick to that, but it's not always possible. As a head coach, sometimes you have to take a different decision. And penalties, they are allowed to take the penalties however they want, but we support them in a scientific way in terms of what you could possibly do. And that is what we do. And they practice penalties, and we still practice penalties. And we hope that a minor advantage if we have to take penalties, and of course we cannot simulate pressure when we practice penalties, we can't do that, but we can give this small plus, this small advantage by practicing. Memphis. I think the information that we get will help, information about the goalkeeper, but the same applies to the goalkeeper who will have information on the players. So everybody has his own technique and tries to practice as best as possible so that you can withstand the pressure. But then again, you have to do it at that point.
Coming to the last couple of questions, we'll go right into the middle there, please.
In the middle, please, in English. Martin Lipton from The Sun. To both of you, this is a game which has huge historical memories for those of us who love football, from Cruyff in '74, the final in '78, Bergkamp in '98. Great games, great moments. Do you believe that you can bring a great game and great moment for Holland today, and your memories particularly of that Bergkamp goal in Marseille in '98, please?
That was an amazing moment for the country, and what a goal! I mean, the game is gonna be the deciding moments of the game. So yeah, if we believe we can catch a moment and and go through. You know, we obviously want to play a good game. But yeah, there's going to be also a tactical game, I think.
Thank you. Gentleman at the front there with the microphone.
Ik moet nog antwoord geven. I have to answer her.
I still have to answer.
Yes. Ja, eigenlijk heb ik net een heel
Actually,
goed antwoord gegeven op
I just provided you with a wonderful answer to your question. Football is no longer being played as in 1988 or 1974 or whatever. Then it was an open game, which it no longer is. And then, well, you can have all sorts of opinions about that, but this is simply the way football has evolved. But it always is possible, as Memphis just put it, to have decisive moments that you remember years afterwards, like Bergkamp's goal, for instance. So undoubtedly, we will continue to remember this forever.
Thank you. Gentleman at the front, please.
Mein Herr van Gaal, Jörg Althoff from Bild in Germany. It's very well known that you still have very close contact to your former Bayern Munich player Bastian Schweinsteiger, who has a great experience in beating Argentina in World Cups. Now he revealed in German TV that you are chatting and talking ahead of games here during the World Cup in Qatar. Which advice did he give you how to beat Argentina tomorrow?
That is private. I'm sorry, it's private. I cannot say anything about that. Maar ik vind het geweldig dat hij dat doet.
I just think it's great that he's doing this. I really think it's great. And I ask him as well, because he's a reporter, so he sees all these matches, and he's a player, or he was a player.
Brains. En het voetbal wordt met het brein
with
gespeeld.
brains, and football is being played with brains. I talked about that today. So, no.
Ik steek er ook wel wat van op.
I do learn. I do learn
gezegd hebben. Dus,
things that my scouts have not said so far.
Het is heel positief.
So it's very positive.
Hij is voor Nederland.
And he is a fan of the Netherlands now that Germany is out. Let me add that.
Thank you. We have time for one last question here who's been waiting since the beginning. I'm very sorry, but we haven't got to every hand. Last question, please.
سؤالي باللغة العربية.
The question is in Arabic. Coach Van Gaal, you have spoken previously that you will leave the Holland squad, the Netherlands squad, after this World Cup, and where would you go afterwards? My question to Depay: all of the Holland squad players respect Coach Van Gaal. Did you talk to your coach to stay with you? Stay as head of coach of your squad?
Het wordt moeilijk om dit te beantwoorden.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question, so it's going to be difficult to answer this. Did you?
Yeah.
Did you get it in your ear?
Nu ben ik het even vergeten.
Oh, I just forgot the
Zou je
question.
eens antwoord geven op die vraag?
No, let me answer the question that I got. I'm focusing on that
wij
one
spelers
first.
respecteren natuurlijk.
We the players obviously respect
zien hem
our head coach.
Een
For us,
sterke,
he
geweldige
is
bondscoach.
a strong
Iedereen
and
weet
marvelous
wat zijn taak
head
is.
coach. Everybody knows
Het is
what
belangrijk
his
om
responsibility is, what
bij het
his
Nederlands elftal
duty is. And of
om
course,
een
it's
bepaalde
important
spirit met je mee te
if you
brengen.
play in the Dutch. It's important to bring
bij
along
deze
a
trainer,
certain
want hij verlangt
team
veel
spirit,
van onze
particularly
spelers.
with
En
this head coach, because
ik
he's
heb
very
persoonlijk nog
demanding.
niet gevraagd
And personally,
wat
I
de
haven't
trainer
asked
hierna gaat doen. Maar
the
het is
head coach
duidelijk dat we met z'n
what
allen
he's going to do after the World Cup. But it's clear that all
hem
of us
een goed toernooi willen schenken, ook als spelersgroep.
want to give him a wonderful tournament as a group of players as well.
Coach, please. You want to quickly repeat your question for the coach?
For the coach, okay, can I speak in English?
Yeah, go ahead. English.
Okay, you told us before that you will leave Netherlands national team after the World Cup. Did you decide where is the next team that you will be its coach?
Nee, in principe zal ik stoppen.
No,
Ik deed dit eigenlijk
no.
alleen maar
Actually,
voor
I'll
Nederland,
stop being a
omdat die
head coach.
noodzaak.
I'm only doing this for the country,
Dat
for
heb ik ook
the
toen
Netherlands,
gezegd.
because it was an emergency
Maar je
situation,
moet nooit
and I
nooit
committed to
zeggen,
that.
want
But
wij
never say
hebben
never,
een goed voorbeeld.
because
Dick
we
Advocaat,
have a wonderful example, Dick Advocaat.
die ken jij waarschijnlijk niet.
You probably don't
Maar ik
know
dacht
Dick
dat hij ook nog
Advocaat,
in Irak heeft getraind.
but I think he was also
Maar dat weet
a
ik niet
trainer
zeker
of
meer.
Iraq.
Maar
I'm not quite sure
wij hebben
about
een
that.
voorbeeld in Nederland.
But
Die
we
coach
have
is
an
nog
example
ouder
in the
als ik. En
Netherlands,
die heeft
and this
laatst nog
coach
even
is
een jobje
older than I
aangenomen.
am, and just recently he took
Weliswaar op
on
het
a
tweede
job
niveau, op het tweede plan.
at a second level,
Maar
I
als
must
ik een
say.
geweldige
But,
uitdaging krijg,
you know, if I'm presented with a wonderful
als er een land komt
challenge,
waarvan
at
ik
least,
denk, ja,
if
dat is
there's which
uitdaging,
I think, oh,
dan
that's
zou het wel eens
a
voor
marvelous
kunnen komen
challenge,
dat ik misschien
it could
nog
well
wat
be
langer
that
ga.
I
Maar
perhaps continue to
ik
work
ben
as a head coach
71.
for a
Ik zie
bit,
er
but
wel
I'm
uit als een
71 years
god.
old.
Maar
Of course, I look marvelous. I look incredibly young.
kan je dat ook nog vertalen in het Arabisch ook?
Are you going to translate that into
Dan moet ik
Arab?
zelf lachen.
No, that makes me laugh.
Okay, on that note, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. Thank you for the Team Netherlands, and good luck for your game tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, we had to have a little bit. Did you do that?